So now that we've looked at how we graph lines and how we plot points, we're going to look at slope. So the goal is going to be to find the slope between 2 points. The first thing that we need to discuss is what is slope. So if I'm looking at my xy plane or my Cartesian plane, the slope is telling me how much I rise divided by how much I run. So it's the ratio of rise over run. There's another way to look at that. It's delta y, which means the change in y, divided by delta x, which means the change in x. But it's how far I go up divided by how far I go over. So if I'm looking at this first graph, if I'm going from this first red circle to my second red circle, it looks like I rise 3. So my slope, which we call little m, would be 3 divided by, and then how far do I run? Well, once I go up 3, it looks like I go over 2. So my slope would be 3/2. Let's do that again on this problem. So going from my first point to my second point, what is my slope? So again, it's rise divided by run. So starting at this first point, my rise is to actually go down. And it looks like I go down from 9 to 3, which is a difference of 6. And since I went down, it's going to be negative. Then my run, I would go over here to this point at 12. Remember, I started at 2 on the x-axis. I ran over to 12. So that difference is 10. And we can reduce this to be negative 3/5. There is a nice formula for this. The formula is, given any 2 points x1 and y1 and x2, y2, we find the slope by using the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is exactly what we just did. We did the difference in the y values divided by the difference in the x values. So let's do a couple of these. For my first one, we'll label this 0.1 and this one 0.2. We're going to find the slope. So since this first one is my 0.1, this will be x1, y1, x2, and y2. So the formula said y2, which was 2, minus y1, divided by x2, which was 4, minus x1, which was negative 2. And we got to be careful there because we're subtracting a negative. So 2 minus 4 should be negative 2. 4 minus a negative 2, that should be a positive 6. So my slope between these 2 points is negative 1/3. Next, we're going to find the slope between 0, 3 and negative 2, negative 1. So I can go ahead and label these if I want. I'll call this x1, y1, x2, y2. And the reason I'm labeling these is because we got to be really careful the order in which we subtract. So the formula said y2, which is negative 1, minus y1, which is 3, divided by x2, which is negative 2, minus x1, which is 0. Negative 1 minus 3, that gives me negative 4, and negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 gives me a positive 2, so my slope is just positive 2. Next, we'll find the slope between 3, 4, and 3, negative 1. So here's my x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5, and 3 minus 3 is 0. So here we run into a problem. You can't divide by 0. That's not allowed. So when you're dividing by 0, we say the slope is undefined. So slope is undefined. If you're thinking about this in terms of a line, remember I said you only need 2 points to fully define it? The points 3, 4, and 3, negative 1, if you were to connect to those, that's a vertical line. And vertical lines look like x equals a value. So x equals 3 is your vertical line. There is no slope to that line. It's undefined. So there you can see it in a picture. So the formula tells you it's undefined. The picture tells you it's undefined. But either way, there is no slope. It's undefined.